Alright, so I am finally back in my regular time zone, which means it is a lot easier to catch up on everything happening in the hockey world. Yes, we have made videos talking about the Vancouver Canucks and their prospect games against the Seattle Kraken, but there were a bunch of other teams that had prospect games over the past 48, 72 hours or so, and I wanted to talk about some standouts, because of course, it's not really worth it at this time to explain and highlight every play and every goal in every game, even if we're talking about my favorite teams in, of course, Vancouver, Montreal, and Detroit. But aside the Canucks, because we had already spoken about those two games against Seattle, I wanted to take some time to talk about the Habs and the Wings. Because man oh man, have there been some pretty good conversations going on about some of these guys after these games. Now, quick channel update, I had finally bitten the bullet, and because I am back home in Vancouver, I actually have the ability to play my PlayStation, which is why we're going to start incorporating NHL 26 gameplay into the channel's videos here. Obviously, it's not the most important thing to talk about, but I did still see some value in diving into the video production process that we have, so we will sprinkle in some 26 gameplay in between all of the old 25 gameplay that I have and do not want to get rid of. With that in mind, let's talk about Montreal, because the Habs, of course, had their prospect games against the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets. And while it's true that you would like to see better results on paper, and while it's true that not everybody was actually impressive, there were some very notable standouts from the rest. In particular, of course, the man himself, the Calder projected winner in 2026, Ivan Demidov, was a monster in the only game he had played, against the Winnipeg Jets, where the Habs lost 4-3. Like, this is the coming out party of Godzilla in terms of the magnitude of how he impacts everybody else on the opposite team. This guy, while he directly isn't a nuclear waste, toxic amalgamation of nuclear warfare remnants that breathes lasers and roars a mighty roar, while Demidov isn't necessarily that, my gosh, this guy could very well just be the best gosh darn player playing hockey right now. And I say playing hockey right now because we just had a bunch of prospect games that didn't include most normal NHL players. But when it comes to all the guys that had suited up for any of the NHL teams over the past few days, there's none better than Ivan Demidov. I mean, this guy, with the dangles that he's able to do, the confidence, the swagger, the pizzazz. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Ivan Demidov had some amazing plays in his game against the Winnipeg Jets. He didn't play the Toronto game, probably because he was too good, let's be real here. But against Winnipeg, I mean, Ivan Demidov had some ankle-breaking moments, just teasing Winnipeg Jets players behind the Jets goal before playing the puck back to himself off the reverse end of the net, sending the Winnipeg player flying. Like, I don't know what to say, man. If you had seen the clip, you had seen the clip. You don't need me to show you what it is. The guy's a monster. And not to mention the fact that Demidov had multiple rushes where he just waltzed right in, dangled by a guy or two. Like, this is where you start to understand that the levels of what prospects exist are so varying and vast. And just because you are a prospect doesn't necessarily mean that you're at the same stage in development, because Ivan Demidov, even though he's only 18, 19 years old, oh boy, that guy is like a 70-point caliber NHL player if he gets the right minutes and he gets the right line mates. I saw some people, like, kind of hating on Demidov a little bit. You know, it's the internet, right? People hate on people for ridiculous reasons, but like, oh, why is he trying so hard? Why is he trying to do all this? And it's like, oh, he's totally better than everybody else. Why does he need to rub it in everybody's faces, trying to make a highlight reel play every shift? Like, the guy got a goal and 2 assists. The Habs only scored 3 goals in that game against Winnipeg. Ivan Demidov had a point on every single one of them, and the third goal was a breakaway. Like, it was so amazing, and it was at the end of the period, too. Like, he tied things up, and it was fantastic, such a hype moment. That's exactly what it is, though. It's hype. if I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan and I paid a hard-earned, like $10 to watch Montreal, Winnipeg in a prospects showdown game at the middle of September, this is not even preseason hockey. It's just a regular game of prospects. If I'm watching Ivan Demidov put on a ballerina show every shift and actually make things happen, I'm popping out of my seat and I'm feeling excited. That is the ultimate contribution that Demidov has given to Canadiens fans this weekend. It is excitement and it is hope. And you can say that a lot of guys on the Red Wings have done similar things. Maybe not to the same extent as Ivan Demidov, but I wanted to give some shout-outs to Detroit Red Wings guys too. But not the ones that you would immediately jump to. Oh yeah, it's true. Axel Sandin-Pellikka looked pretty good. Nate Danielson had some moments where he took over the game for Detroit against the Dallas Stars. But I think the biggest standout for a lot of Detroit Red Wings fans was none other than Amadeus Lombardi. Lombardi, Danielson, I thought, they played pretty well. Zeev Buium also had some very good moments. The Red Wings are interesting because while a guy like Axel Sandin-Pellikka looked pretty good in the games against the Dallas Stars, you can tell that he wasn't necessarily fully ready to take that next step. Like, there was a little bit of hesitation and maybe not the same activation ability nor comfort like he had playing in the SHL. So maybe it's the smaller ice surface, maybe it's the competition, maybe it's the fact that it's a prospect showcase game and he doesn't need to be as good. There's not that demand for an immediate level of success right away if he's playing a game like this. Michael Brandsegg-Nygård also had a bunch of points, which is great. I think off the puck, there were a number of things that he showed that kind of indicate that maturity level that he's got. Just the decisions, just the routes that he takes when he's skating back and when he doesn't have that puck, when he's trying to track down his opponents, etc., etc. Brandsegg-Nygård showed a lot of poise, and I think that's a very underrated quality that many fans wouldn't necessarily pick up on right away unless you're actually looking for it. Like, you know how we say for defensemen, oh, you don't notice him, that's a good thing. For Michael Brandsegg-Nygård, yeah, you notice him because he's scoring goals, he's putting up points, but he also is doing some pretty strong things off the puck, which is very, very welcomed for the Detroit Red Wings. Nate Danielson had a few moments where he just totally shined, taking the puck and just dangling it into the middle, forcing a shot towards the goal, and then actually scoring. The funny part is, I don't think Danielson was really, this is going to sound really bad, but I don't think he was, trying too hard. You know that there's a little bit more in the tank that he could have given, but it was yeah, it's a prospect game. What do you want? But at the end of the day, I'm thinking about it yeah, with Michael Brandsegg-Nygård showing off as well as he did, Nate Danielson and Lombardi showcasing the talent that they have, that skill, that upper echelon ceiling, you kind of have to start wondering who among this group is going to be able to potentially make the Detroit Red Wings. That is the million-dollar question now, is it? Of course, you don't want to see the Wings blow games like they did against Dallas in the second game. They stomped the Stars in Game 1, but then lost in Game 2. You don't want to see that, but then again, it's yeah, it's a prospect showcase. You're not really watching this to see wins and losses. You want to see who stands out. And that information is exactly what we had received from this contest here. With that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Demidov and the Montreal Canadiens, what they were able to do against Winnipeg, and what the Habs ended up doing against Toronto without Demidov? What are your thoughts on the Red Wings and the guys that stood out in their prospect games against the Dallas Stars? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.